Okay, are we good? Okay. Evening, everybody. Glad to see everybody could make it tonight. We got a good crowd. Cal's out of town this evening, so I'm filling in for him. So as I stumble and fall, you can all chuckle. Feel free. I'm Vice President. I'm Ron Haw. Been around, I guess, 7 or 8 years now. So do we have anyone here who is visiting to see if the Guild is something they want to join? Stand up. We want to thank you guys. And then do we have any first-time members here tonight, or new members here this evening? And we got quite a few. Thank you. Welcome, folks, and I think you'll find the Guild's a pretty good deal to take part with. The first thing we're going to run through, just like we normally do on meeting night, we'll run through all the officer reports. We'll go kind of quickly, I think. And we're going to start out with the Vice President. He really has nothing to say tonight. Mr. Roth, are you around? I thought I saw you. Nothing to report. And Treasurer, John, are you here? Okay, John's not answering, so I guess he's not here. Last we checked, we still had a little bit of money left in the bank. As we're moving along over here, getting things done, I think every time, if you're over here every now and then, you'll see every time you come in, there's usually a pretty big improvement over the last time you were here. So we're really moving along, and things are starting to look good. Next on the list, Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Ron. Let's see, Chris, do you have those photos? The board has voted unanimously to approve the signs that you see up on the screen there. This particular sign on the Broadway side will be lit so that you can see it all the way down 18th Street to the top side of First Fridays. And our goal on First Fridays is to have a booth near there so we can hand out information about the Guild and say, look right up that hill there. You can see the sign. Go up there and you can come take a tour and see real woodworking being done. And so that's what our signs is. The front sign won't need to be lit because there's enough ambient light there that we won't need to have a sign there. Yeah, so this is one of our speakers tonight, so we'll get to you in a second here. So I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I was a little panic stricken. So it's come 7 o'clock. So another thing coming up is our elections, which are in April. If you want to step up and serve in one of the committees, I was trying to find on the bylaws what offices were open this April, because half the committees change with new members or continue and the other half stay for their 2-year term. If you're at all interested in serving and stepping up, a lot of the times the commitment is pretty low. Other times it can be quite challenging sometimes, particularly if you have a full-time job. And I know I tried that for a while. But I'm the member at large, and so that's what they do with former presidents when they don't want to lose that institutional knowledge. And I heard somebody chuckling earlier when I said that. So. But I know president is open this time, and so that means that vice president is also open. If Ron wants to step up to be president, he is more than welcome. That's kind of, yes, you. Now, believe me, I served 4 years, so it tells you the level of stupidity I had. So, and that was during COVID, too. So. What's that? They don't count, yeah. And there's some of the other, on the leadership committee, which would be, I think membership is one that's coming up, and there's a few others. I got to find this out, and it'll be in the next newsletter when you read that. Hopefully you all read the newsletter. You all read the newsletter? A lot. Yeah. Convince me you mean that. All right. And what else was there? I think that's all I had for this go around. All right.
Thanks, Craig. since our gentleman from the Crossroads came in, just so you know, we're going to change the program around a little bit tonight. As soon as we're through with the officer reports, we're going to let him make his presentation. Then we'll have intermission, and then we'll come back and we'll do the Jim Baney show. So Jim's here, he's ready to go. So just so everybody knows what's happening when we start switching things around a little bit. Chuck Saunders on what's happening at the new shop. Where is Chuck? Is he sleeping? That's because I charge. Chuck's done a great job, and all you guys that have been coming in, I know I come down here every day or every now and then, and I see Dwayne's here every day. Ed's always here. Yeah, well, you know, but Tim's been here quite a bit. I know a lot of you other guys have all been here, and we really want to thank you for all of that. So, next in line is Brian Rohrbach, our Communications Director. I know there he is.
Nothing to report.
He has nothing to report because he hasn't done anything.
That's not true.
Yeah, Brian's been working hard in getting getting all our networking done so the TVs will work and all that sort of thing. I know Chris upstairs has been doing the other things for the video stuff and making microphones work. Trying to. Newsletter, that's Ron Haw. And we got the last newsletter out. We've been trying consistently to get that out on the Sunday before the membership meeting. You know, we were in the past getting that out a little later, but we've done a pretty good job about getting that up. We're getting regular articles submitted. You know, if you ever just want to write something, an editorial, you know, please feel free to turn something in. You know, it just goes to newsletter@kcwg.net, and we'll get it in the newsletter for you. Send any pictures you might have or any of that kind of stuff. You know, we're always looking for people to participate. So that's really about all I have to say there. We're looking at maybe making a few changes this year, but I don't think we're going to have anything major, which should kind of be along the same lines. Website. That's Brian Rohrbach again.
Website?
Do you have anything to say about the website?
We're trying to make all the changes based on our address change right now. One thing that's been coming up lately that's probably good to tell the membership, I'm getting a lot of people saying, I'm no longer on the mailing list. I'm no longer getting emails. If that is happening to you, if on the members site, on the member tab, there is a place where you could just put your email address back in there and it'll resubscribe you to the list. Most of the time what happens is people will get a message and they'll say, hey, I'm not really interested in this thing, and they'll hit unsubscribe. That takes you off every mailing we have. So you can resubscribe yourself or just email me and I'll do it. But I've had 3 today. So it happens. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Don Steele. See, Don, you'll see that the library, if you stick your head in there, there's got a great new door on it, and the library's slowly coming fast. And magazines, Don's running a special on magazines. You know, they're usually $5 for $1, and I think it's $5 for whatever you feel like contributing. So if you have an extra quarter in your pocket, please pick up some magazines. Chris McCauley is looking for some help, and we're going to let him talk about that.
Okay. So for also real quick side note, those on YouTube and everyone else here, I know we got some speaker issues. I'm working on getting those straightened out, so bear with me on those. Coming up very, very soon in March 15th to the 17th, it is the St. Patrick's Day weekend, is the Kansas City Woodworkers show. It's going to be at Hale Arena, or next door to, used to be Kemper, if you know that. looking for signups, you can scan that code right there on the screen or check your emails. If you sign up, there is different shifts to sign up. I need your name on each shift you want to work. I have to give them a list of who's working when. This does get you into the show. I got signups for 10 people per shift. My intent is I'd like to have people doing demos and people talking about membership. And we have enough people there that we can space out and take breaks and go see the show also. If you want to take any seminars or anything like that, you need to purchase those tickets additionally separately. But yes, this does get you in the show the day you are working. So if you sign up, you can get in that day. But I need names for each shift you're working. This is not a situation where we can just say, oh, I'll show up that day. So if you want to work and want to be in the show, please go to that sign up and make sure you put your name down. And if you sign up, please make sure you attend so that spot doesn't get wasted. Don't have any more information on it as of right now, but we do have coming up in the fall. Lee Nielsen is very excited to be coming back. So be looking out for that. Once I get more information on that, we will go in from there. And the other thing for events is going to be the first Friday, but we're going to talk about that here in just a minute.
Thank you, Chris. Membership, Mr. Berard, where are you? Carry on. Jimmy has nothing to say other than we have today 1,022 members. So good for us. And we're looking to expand on that this year, and that's why we're looking for folks to talk about membership and those sorts of things. Matt Dorak, programs. We're good. Steve Venn, are you here, Vane? I don't think Steve's here. John Sloss?
You should point out that just because the safety director is not here,
Right.
still operate the shop safely.
Right, we still want to make sure, and if you're in here helping set things up and things like that, we want to always make sure you're especially wearing your safety glasses. I know some people think it's silly, but you know what? All it takes is one chip to fly across the room, especially now that the machines are running again. We want everybody to always be safe, and you know, the foreman don't, I know as a foreman, I don't appreciate having to chase somebody down to say, you're not doing this or you shouldn't be doing that, and especially with safety glasses, that should be a no-brainer. John Sloss, are you here? I didn't see John. Ed, do you want to talk about Rough to Ready?
We continue to offer Rough to Ready for those of you who are just visiting or are new. It's about a 6-hour course. You're on one-on-one with an instructor, maybe 2 students with an instructor, and you get to go through the shop, use about 8 different tools, and you make a nice little wooden box. And you get to know the shop, you get to know the people, and the instructors get to know you, and it's just kind of a fun time for all. So if you're wanting to learn more about how to use some of the basic tools in the shop, like a table saw and a bandsaw, I'd encourage you to think about it. And then if you've got years of experience here and you would like to become a Rough to Ready instructor, I would love to visit with you. So I'll be hanging around, and thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Dwayne, sponsorship. Do you have anything?
Okay, one of the things I did want to say too is if you've been in here when people are working, this is not as quiet as a hospital. You might seriously consider hearing protection as well as the eye protection when you come in. It's up to you, but can you hear me? Oh, okay, that's good. That was it. Is that This, I mean, if you look at the ceiling, there's not a lot of sound absorption up there. If you look at the walls, there's not a lot of sound absorption. And there's some big machines here running. So think about it. Doesn't cost you hardly anything. That's it.
Okay, anything to say about sponsorship?
I need to get to work.
All right, thanks, Dwayne. The training folks, Rich, are you here? Or I know Kevin's not. He's home this evening, so lots of training things coming out. I've seen a lot of things that they've been posting on new classes coming up, and there's always going to be more. So, you know, if there's something you want to take, all you have to do is when the Sign Up Genius comes out, they come out every Tuesday, I think at 7 o'clock. Is that right? And so if you've got a class, especially one of these popular ones where they sell out real quick, if you're at your computer at Sign Up Genius, Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, that's when you're going to be able to sign up for a class. And pretty well, I'm sorry? PM. I'm old. I don't get up at 7 o'clock. I don't know about you. And I know we do have, and also in line with training, we do have some skill builders coming up over the next few months. Those will be out both in the newsletter, and you'll see some messages coming out that cover the skill builders. Those are pretty much open to everybody, your friends. You can bring your mother-in-law if you want. And all she needs is a pair of safety glasses, and they're typically here in the shop on Saturday morning, hour, sometimes 2 hours. Learn about a specific skill. You know, Cal usually comes in and does clawfoots, and I know Wayne has run some of those things, but it always teaches you something about a machine or a task that maybe you're just not perfect on, but it gives you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about it. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, special interest groups. Hand tools. Rob? Sunday, 2 to 4, you're going to teach about how to sharpen a scraper and use one. Even one of those round guys? Wow. So there you go, 2 to 4 on Sunday. Join that group. Jim Brock or Dan Rubido, are you guys here? Here, you want to talk about carving? Fourth Tuesday, 6 to 8. And everybody's invited. Well, we'll have the hand tool shop in the training room pretty soon. So, let's see. Laser engraver, Curtis.
Next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Want to be trained to use the laser, the train right after.
Right, and that's one of the few pieces of gear we have in the shop where you have to be certified by Curtis or one of his guys. I guess John's helping you now. John and Craig is too. Okay, so you have to be certified on that before you can just come in and use the machine. It is set up and working right now, so. Scroll Saw SIG, George Rexroad.
Just looking for people to volunteer for the woodworking show, give demonstrations. And if you want to, just when you sign up on the sign sheet, specify that's why you're gonna be there.
Okay. Do they have to know how to scroll?
So,
Gee, thanks. And last but not least on the CNC, or the SIG list is CNC. Gary or John? John, I guess. Ed, I'm sorry.
For those of you who do use the CNC, it's out of service right now. We're putting on a new top. We're waiting to be able to run some parts through one of the wide belt sanders, and then we'll proceed again. So hopefully this time next week it'll be back up. There will be an email sent out as soon as it's back online, and it's back in the corner. So I don't know if that was to keep Ed back there or what, but and out of sight. But anyway, that's where it's located. So that's all.
It was just to keep you from bothering folks.
I think that's appropriate.
You know, if you haven't been here yet, or this is your first or second time through the shop, I know Christmas dinner, this was a big old empty room, and we were all kind of crammed together on some plywood pads because the floor had literally been opened up to us that day, and it wasn't supposed to have anything done to it other than walked on. But walk around the shop and see what's been done here. I mean, these guys have done a great job, and you know, every day there's something a little bit more getting done, and that's going to continue on. And I would imagine by this time next year, we ought to be all in and settled down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Craig to come back up, and he's going to run some introductions here and get some folks in our.
So, Jeff, right? Jeff, okay. So Jeff is with the Crossroads Arts Coalition, commonly known as the Crossroads Arts District, and you live and work here in the district, right? So is his mic on, Chris? Say something. It wasn't me?
Hello?
All right. So we'll let Jeff talk about that. He's going to run through a little bit of the history of the district, and then what we can expect, hopefully, for our First Friday's turnouts. So you'll talk about some numbers, people coming in.
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell you a little bit about my history and First Friday history. I've lived in around First Friday for about since 1984, and I didn't really, it wasn't First Friday back then, you know, but about 2000 is when First Friday started kind of happening. When I moved in there in the 84, I bought a building in 92, and that's when I first started living or working there. And my whole history was in the film industry. We built sets and technical props for the movie industry. And the reason I moved down there is so that I could do simulated explosions and things and nobody would care. So now it's like, obviously, a no-brainer, you couldn't do that. But, so we were in there building all these things for a long time, and, you know, we'd roll sets down the street to a studio, and it was kind of like the Universal back lot. And then so after we stopped doing those things, I owned the buildings that we bought to do that work in, and so I started renting them out to artists. And so there was a guy named Jim Leedy, that he was a professor at the Kansas City Art Institute, and he bought a building down there, a 3 or 4 building, and he did that so that he'd have a place for his students to come and have their own studio and be able to work and live in their own studio after they graduated from the Art Institute, because they had no place to go other than, you know, the whole idea was to try to get them in a position where they could actually make a living with their art, because I think there's only like 2 or 3% of the artists that go there that actually end up being an artist, you know, that being their profession. So anyway, so he was doing that, I was doing my thing, and then there was just a kind of a crazy combination of students opening up galleries and other artists. So at one point, when the vibes were really heavy duty down there, we had 450 artists that either worked there or was helping artists that were there. So that kind of gave us an idea how many artists it takes to create a, you know, the vibe that you got when you went down there. So then, as soon as that happened, and it became sort of this cool place to be, you know, it's kind of like in New York where all these artists move in, a really cool thing happens, then the property values go up, and then they have to all move out for, you know, for J. Cruz. I always call the artists like maggots, you know, they go in and get rid of all the yucky stuff in the buildings. They don't have enough money to completely redo them, so it keeps all the humanity in them, and it's just an incredible, what they do is just amazing. So anyways, they So what happened in this case, most of the time, all across the country, when artists would go in a certain area and they'd make it really cool, they'd always get kicked out every time. So this was the first time ever that myself and a bunch of other people got together with the city of Kansas City and made a special tax break for any building that would have 51% of their artists in their building. They would have their taxes locked in to whatever year that was that they got into the program. So we have like 40 buildings in the Crossroads that are in this program, and that the artists never left. So there is some that left, but there's still a lot of artists. So without that program, it would have been a whole different ballgame. And then, so it was kind of funny to me because as soon as we had that cool vibe, we started getting banks moving in, hair salons, and lawyers. You know, those are the three other groups that started moving in. So anyway, in about 2000, the First Friday started because several people had galleries down there and they were mailing out their invitations to all their clients, and they got together and they thought, well, what if we all went together and mailed everything out in one mailing, and we stayed open on First Friday late? So that was how it sort of started. Do we have water, by the way? Yes. I can get some water for me. And so anyway, it started out with just like maybe a couple hundred people coming down to split out against all the artists in about 2000. Thank you. So after that, it just kept growing. Got a beer? So anyway, so it kept growing, and then the food trucks started being coming online. There wasn't any food trucks in the beginning, and so we had food trucks coming down and artists coming down, and then a lot of artists would set up on the sidewalks for First Friday. And so one day I walked outside, and I'm on the Crossroads Community Association. I'm the president and vice president, and I'm the chair for First Friday and the graffiti removal program they have down there. So I got way too many hats, but basically I walked outside one day, and it just, the amount of people that were coming, it was just that one time where it just went crazy, and we had like 40,000 people on First Friday, and I just, oh my God, this is a train wreck, because nobody was doing anything to organize it. So after that happened, I knew somebody was going to get killed, and somebody run over or something. So from that point on, we started getting all the food trucks together and all the artists and making everybody chip in a little bit of money. And we hired security, porta potties, and made some organization so that it wouldn't be so chaotic. And then, so we did that for a while. We had the 18th Street food truck corridor, and we had food trucks coming in from St. Louis and just all over the place because it was so popular. We had like 50 food trucks at one point. And so it was a crazy, really amazing. And so then that crazy thing, I don't know how many people knew about it, but this girl got shot. And it was the same thing as the Royals deal, where this kid was mad at somebody else and was just shooting in the air to show how tough he was, and accidentally shot this girl. And so she died. And so we, the Crossroads got together, and we figured out what we thought would be the best way to go forward with First Friday. And that was to comment all the way down. We were staying open until about 11. And so we decided to close at 9 o'clock, nothing going on past 9, no amplified music, and to have all the artists, because another thing that was happening is we had all these people reselling things like shoes and hats and all kinds of stuff, and they were taken away from the artists being able to sell their stuff. And the artists complained to us a lot about it. So we cracked down on that and just said, look, it's all about the Crossroads Art District. You got to be a painter or a fine woodworker, or these where your level of creativity is obvious. And so doing that and then having the food trucks all in one place, it's been really a complete game changer. But for me, running it, every time the biggest thing is, is somebody gonna try to, have a mass shooting or, all these kind of things. So that's always in the back of my mind. It weighs me down. And this whole thing with this little thing that happened with the Chiefs parade, just another layer of consciousness that I have to deal with. But anyway, back to First Friday. There's a place at 19th in Baltimore where we have this. We bought a 1986 mail truck and turned it into our information vehicle. And we park that at 19th in Baltimore every First Friday, and we hand out maps. And we have maps of all the places you can go. So you guys need to get on that map, and so we can have that on there. And then we can put on that map, on the map truck, we can put a little poster on there saying, make sure to go visit the Woodworkers Guild. And I got a little bit of feedback about the train thing you guys were going to do. I think that's just incredible. So does everybody know about it? Okay, all right. Oops, sorry. But anyway, so there's a real cool thing you guys are going to do. Anyway, we can help as much as possible. The Crossroads, my whole board is so excited about you guys coming and being in here, and I can't believe this building is gorgeous, and what a cool place. It's super exciting. And I report back to the board about my visit here, and I had another guy coming with me, but he got sick, so he couldn't make it. But anyway, yeah, pretty cool.
So how many people have been coming on average?
Okay, so at this point we have like 20,000, 20,000 people. And it starts around 5 o'clock and goes till 9. There's some First Friday stuff kind of going on up in this area. Has sort of always been here. It's a special trip. Like if you're going down to First Friday, there's no way you can get around and see everything. So you kind of got to, have a game plan when you come down. We have like 70 artists that's set up in our alleys. We moved all the artists from the sidewalks to these cool alleys we lit all the alleys with Italian lighting, and they have, the old fire escapes on the buildings and stuff. They're just super cool.
There's a map up on the screen for you.
Oh, yeah. I can read that. That's cool. Yeah, so the alleys are right here. That little green thing right there. That is the alleys we use. And we have room for about 80 artists. We can expand the alleys a little bit, but we've always had like around 60 to 70. That's been our sort of, and one First Friday, the last 2 years, we've partnered with the Kansas City Chiefs and which was weird. The first time they came to us, they wanted to, to me, they wanted to get into a fresh group of people that necessarily might not be Chiefs fans. But so I said, well, if we're going to do that, we need to, it's got to be about the art. And there's actually an amazing amount of artwork that's done for the Kansas City Chiefs. They do all these, have all these artists that help paint images of Patrick Mahomes and all those kind of things. And so the last 2 years, we've done the September Red Friday, first Friday at the Crossroads. And so it's been pretty cool, actually. What I talked them into doing is paying for every artist's fee so that all the artists get to come to First Friday free that night. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, so we have about 20,000. And I think that it'll be really fun to see how many we can get from there to here. So that'll be an interesting project.
The sports complex that they're talking about, how is that going to affect you and maybe us?
I didn't really hear what you said. No, I'm just kidding. That is, last night, it was our first meeting with the Crossroads community to talk about the stadium. We couldn't believe they were actually going to do it, you know, because there's so much going on down there already. There's part of it that could be really cool, and part of it could be not cool. And I think that when we met last night, we divided off in groups and made these lists of everything that was all our concerns about what could happen. I know there's one. There's one business down there that moved here from Weston, and they've been working on their place for 2 years. Probably invested $10 million, and it's going to be a cheese. They're going to produce cheese in their manufacturing company in the Crossroads, and it's right where that stadium's going. It's unbelievable, and they're getting their permit to open to the public next week. So it's not even being used yet. It blows my mind. But anyway, where that stadium sits, next to Sprint Center and next to the Power and Light District, it could be a cool energy right there, and it would help fund and give it more business to the Power and Light District. But the biggest nightmare that I see is they haven't done anything in parking. They say that there's enough parking spaces in downtown Kansas City and in the Crossroads I see a lot of people going, nope, that ain't happening. So anyway, when we have our First Friday, there's no parking, you know, so let alone if there's something at the Sprint Center, something in Midland Theater, the First Friday, you know, stuff going on up here, and let alone the Performing Arts Center. So there's got to be some research done and then just making sure that people really know where to go, you know, like an interactive app or something. Anyway, to me, that's the most frightening part, because if people keep trying to come down and there's literally no place to park, it's going to hurt everybody, including all the little retail shops that are in First Friday already. So, yeah. So anyway, thanks for asking.
What other businesses near us draw this direction? Or what other artists?
Yeah,
I
so
should
the
say?
one right across the street is pretty popular, the climbing thing. And then if the guys get the Screenland, you know, the old Screenland setup, if he gets that going, that'll be really cool, because that'll draw people over. The little crepe shop down here, a lot of people come up for that. And then there's a bunch of businesses up in 17th and Summit that people come up to. So they'll be going right past where you are. So it'd probably be neat to have a big sandwich board sign on the sidewalk on 17th with arrows pointing in. That would be good.
With that shooting that happened, Do you guys have insurance to cover lawsuits about something like that? And
We do.
so what does something like that cost?
So this was crazy, the insurance company, but when the shooting happened for us at the Crossroads, we had insurance, we had everything we needed. In fact, the first Friday it had gotten so big that the U.S. government had sent some people over to talk to me, Homeland Security, because it was a potential for terrorist attacks. So I had to do all these things, and they gave me a book, and we started working on all these things to mitigate that. And so we had everything in place the night that happened, and so that was huge for us. Our insurance back then cost about $6,000 a year, and after the shooting they dropped us. But our new insurance, which we got immediately, was $5,000 a year. So that's just, goofy. You'd think it would be even more, but it's just the companies and what they thought was, the threat. So.
Real quick, are there any other businesses that offer classes, art classes, like we're going to offer for like they said, the rough to ready, where they start people out from the beginning on how to use woodworking tools? Are there any other art companies that do that?
So there is some people down there that have art classes and sewing classes, but nobody's doing what you guys are offering. In fact, we have a wood shop in one of the buildings I own down there. It's called the Bower, and it has 34 artists in it. And we have a central shop in there. And this would be an absolute perfect place for me to send anybody that wants to use our shop. Do you guys have a saw, by the way? I'm loving it. That is really smart. So I could send them up here to get certified so that they could come down and use our equipment and not get hurt. So yeah, that's great. And there is some really high-end, fabulous woodworkers in the Crossroads, furniture makers, and also pieces for your house. I'll let them know that you guys are up here. It's pretty cool.
Would they be open to giving classes or talks, demos?
Oh, that's a great question. I bet they would. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'll make sure that we get something going on there. Great idea.
Chris? I'm going to walk over to David Roth.
Okay.
This man right here. He does a thing called intarsia, and it's pretty incredible. So if I'm David Roth, and I do an incredible intarsia thing, and I have 10 examples, and I want to sell or display, what do I need to do?
So first of question. That's a great question.
Thanks.
So if they're like super arty, is that one of them?
Well, this is one that was done a few years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a no-brainer.
And this is our logo.
Yeah, that totally wouldn't work. No, I'm just kidding.
When he was an amateur.
So that was my rookie years. All right. Well, that actually fits perfectly with what we want. And so you can go on the Crossroads website, and there's a place about First Fridays, and it tells you exactly how to sign up. And then we'll have you can come down and you can come down the night of First Friday. You can pay for it's $25 online to pay for a spot, and you just come on down, and then we can show you all the different areas and yeah, pick a good spot.
I'm going to interrupt here. We will have in this building the opportunity for our members to show off their work.
Okay.
And so our treasurer's not here tonight, otherwise I'd be handing you a check for our sponsorship and for a booth. I got the check request in, but he's not here to write it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
that
will have, our plan is to have a booth down there directing people up here. And we hope to have our sign up on Broadway so we can say, go up to 18th Street, look for the bright black and white sign, head up there and you'll see a real woodworking and you'll be able to look and purchase real woodworking. So there's really not that big of a need for our members to have their own booth down there because we're trying to draw them up here. Our booth, the Guild's booth down there is more informational to get people to come up here and pass out that kind of stuff. So if you want to sell your own stuff, this would be the great venue to do it in.
I have some examples in your booth down there to motivate people to come up here.
And we will have examples down there
that'd be
too.
Fabulous, yep.
Are we allowed to send members in clapboards, as you said, to walk around and
Absolutely.
bang on pots and pans or
Right.
anything like that?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah,
Hand out bags of sawdust?
yeah. So you guys are in the in the district, so that's another thing. Everybody could join the Crossroads Community Association as on the lowest tier. I think it's $50 a year or something. And you can get all our notices and stuff like that.
Now, the Guild did sign up as a business, not the top one, but the next one down.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
We've been trying to get the attention of Judy Denichet over at KCUR.
Yes.
Do you have an inroad? Because we'd like to advertise that we are in the Crossroads, we're a member of the community, and
Yeah.
we'd like to be on the website of the Arts of Kansas City.
Yeah, I do. I'll talk to her.
You're gonna put the thumb on her?
Yeah, I'll put the hair on her.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything else?
So as you can imagine, we went from paying this much rent to this much rent. And so our main goal in participating in First Fridays is to get more members.
Okay.
And that raises our treasury a
That
little
makes
bit.
sense.
And our treasurer will not have coronaries every time he's presented with a bill on fitting this place out, so.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But it's also a great opportunity for our members, to sell, because some of our members teach the rough to ready class and they build a box along with the new member. And they might have 15 boxes at home that they've built, and their wife or husband is saying, you need to get rid of these. And this would be a great place just to come down and put $20 or $25 on these boxes, and it gets a little cash in the member's pocket, and a little commission comes back to the Guild to help pay for our participation in the Arts District. So,
Yeah.
so
No, that's great. We good?
the official season of First Fridays.
Right, that's a good point.
When is that?
It's April, the first Friday in April. It goes for 7 months till the first Friday in October.
Yeah. And so that's the official season.
Yeah, but it's open every first Friday year-round.
Yeah.
For the brick and mortars. It's the sponsored areas where we have the artists in the alleys and the food trucks is the April through October.
Yeah, so the plan that we're kind of kicking around here is that every month we offer a piece of a train, and like we did at Santa's Workshop, they get to build, or they get to see this little car be built, and then they get to glue in their axles and hammer those in with the wheels. So every month would be a different piece of this train, culminating in October with the engine. Each month, there'd be a piece on there that would be lasered Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, Kansas City Woodturners Association, First Fridays, April 2024. And the next month, May 2024. And so come back and collect all 7. And that would get people back up here month after month to see new woodworking for sale too. What's that? How much are the train cars? Well, for the people coming in, they'll be free. So because we want them to come participate and see this place. So,
Cool.
so we might be putting the touch on some of our sponsors for some lumber donations. Yeah.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. We wanted to
Oh,
give
Jeff,
you
before you get away,
coffee cup up here that we kind of give everybody. This is one of our. One more?
There you go. Go grab a cupcake. Grab a cup.
There you go. You can tell we're a budget.
There we go, here we go. There we go.
All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming. All right, folks, I think what you're going to see here over the next couple of weeks, number one, on
Yeah.
Watch Sign Up Genius, we're going to have a deal for nominations committee coming up pretty quick. We'll also have a deal coming up for the Crossroads for a committee on that, and I think we've got some folks who've already expressed an interest in that, and we certainly would like you to take advantage of that. This Crossroad thing could be a really good deal. Okay, with that, let's take about 5 or 10 minutes. And the food is in the kitchen. Help yourselves. And then, Jim Bainey, you've got your stuff. Let's kind of get over there and start getting ready to go.
Thanks. So, Russ, are you first? Yep. Come on up.
My name is Russ Amos. I don't know how many of you guys have got Moxon Vice, but I do a lot of production type stuff where I'm working on the same width items, so I try to stack them up inside the Moxon Vice so I can sand them off or do whatever I got to do. And it's kind of difficult if you got multiple pieces in a Moxon Vice. I'll have to show it to you here, but I'm going to have my back to you. So you turn, and you turn, and everything falls out like that. So I came up with a way to modify your Moxon Vice, which you drill holes in the face of it where you're working from, and you put some dowels in those holes. Kind of like this. Now when you put your pieces in the Moxon Vice, oh, they still fall down. No, I forgot to go all the way through with it. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's try this again. Now you can put your pieces in the Moxon Vice, and they just sit there, and all you got to do is tighten it up and do whatever the process you got to do to it. Any questions?
Did you make this Moxon Vice yourself?
Yes. Yes, I did. I brought it in here several years ago to show it at the show and tell.
How many people here have a Moxon Vice that they use? Wow. How many people have got this idea incorporated into it? There you go. All right. Any questions for Russ? Yes.
What's that cost to build? Oh, geez.
Question was, what does that cost to build?
I have no idea. It's been several years. I probably built it about 8 years ago. It was probably $50 or $60 for the tools, and I had the wood. So Jim Van Gothen has kits to make your own Moxon Vice. If you need one, talk to Jim. He's here.
John.
Oh, I'm sorry, John Van Gothen. Right here.
John, how much are the kits, John? $100? All right. So while those guys are moving this, a couple of weeks ago when we were working in the space here, Chuck asked me to put the ceiling grid in, and so I said, yeah, no problem. And he said, do you have a rotating laser? And I said, well, yeah, I've got one, but I really don't need one. And that brought up a story of mine about rotating lasers. I was building a Eddie Bauer store in Pontiac, Michigan. We were putting the grid in. This was about a 10,000 square foot space. We were putting the grid in, and the fire prevention pipe fitters got a brand new first day apprentice on the job. And so they decided they're going to pull this kid's chain. So what they wanted him to do is part of the grid was in, and they wanted him to put the drops in, which means coming up from the main line, dropping it down to the level of the grid, and putting a sprinkler head on that. So you got to, it's work on a ladder basically. And they told this kid, don't let that laser hit you. That laser beam hit you. And they told the ceiling guys to turn this thing real slow. So for 2 hours, this guy goes. Yeah, 2 hours it took him for it to catch on. All right, next.
Just a few items here I did with the laser that we have back here. Just wanted to, I picked these off the internet for the most part. Just wanted to kind of show that you can take things off the internet and put them in the program and make things what you want. Like for example, the horse here, this is the original picture of the horse that I pulled off the internet, and then I did a little alteration to that to make it more laser worthy. And then I decided I wanted to have a different version, so I took the same horse and altered it on the program and made it stand up like that. Made the bases. Same kind of thing with the football here. I took the Super Bowl emblem and took that off the internet, put it on the light burn, made the football.
Okay, so you said you used the term took it off the internet. What's that entail?
Just copying it and loading it onto the thumb drive and loading it into the computer that has a light burn program and tracing it with that.
Okay. How long did that take you?
Oh, that initially part doesn't take very long, maybe 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
It's the part that you're altering the way you want it that takes longer.
Okay.
And then setting up the burn speed and power.
The black color horses, is that, how did you attain that black color?
Black spray paint.
Okay.
This is the natural right here off the laser. It's the same wood. I just sprayed the horses.
Okay, so once you had the plan in place, how long did it take to burn that?
It took 10 minutes to do each horse, and it took 10 minutes to do each base.
Okay, pretty quick.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, go ahead and lay one of those horses down so I can see it.
I'm sorry, say that again. Like that?
Slide the base over the edge.
Okay, any questions about this project? You gonna do any more?
Oh, yeah. Whatever comes up.
Whatever comes up?
Yeah.
We need to win another Super Bowl for you to do another one of these?
I'd be glad to do that.
Okay,
I want to tell you, I use a little Odie's oil
awesome.
on horses, just a small amount. If you look close underneath the tail, you see a glob. That's Odie's oil.
Ah,
It makes it more realistic. Yes, sir.
Has anyone volunteered to use the CNC or the laser to make a nice sign for the hand tool?
No, we wouldn't volunteer for anything like that.
It'd be pretty ironic.
okay, you're on for those signs.
All right.
Very good. Thanks.
Jim? Does anybody have a blue Prius with the tag teach in? Thank you.
Okay, next.
Hi, my name is Gary Munhanke. I did a bowl with a diamond plate on it, so it kind of looks like it's metal, but it's 100% wood. So I did this on a CNC, and it's made out of ash, and finished it. I got for Christmas, I got an airbrush, so this is my first attempt. The silver is my first attempt at using an airbrush. And I think I got lucky. The silver came out pretty decent, and the natural wood is amber shellac.
Okay, so this is all one piece.
Yes, it is.
And you did it on the CNC?
Yes.
So when you did it, it was up?
No, I used the rotary.
Okay.
So it was basically a lathe, and it was cutting just like you would on a lathe. It was cutting and just kept indexing around as it cut that way. Then what I did, I devised a vacuum table to hold it flat on a horizontal. So the vacuum table had a suction and holes with a vacuum pump, and it sucked it down, and that's where I milled out the center then.
Okay. So what are you going to do with this? Got any plans for doing more?
I'm probably going to make some more, yeah. A couple
Okay.
people that have seen it said, boy, I'd like one of those. So I don't know if it's good. I may, it seems like a lot of people that I've shown it to was interested in it, so I may try selling some too.
Okay.
Might be good at the Crossroads, something like this, so.
Awesome. Any questions about, what did you put in there for a finish? Inside?
Amber shellac.
Amber shellac?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
Hollowing out, it took, I think it was about 8-minute cycle time. Cutting the diamond plate on here, that took about a little under 3 hours, about 2 hours and 50 minutes. So.
How long did it take you to program it?
A couple weeks. But no, it was a few iterations. The first one I made, and I usually do the first one out of some cheap construction pine, and the diamonds, I made them too shallow. They weren't very proud, so later iterations I made them stand out more. Also, if you see in the profile, there is a curvature to it, so that was something else that was unique about it, projecting the diamond onto a slight curve here, too.
Okay. Very good. Any questions?
Wood. Well, wood is.
Ash.
Ash. It's ash. Very good. Thank you.
Hi, Jim.
Hi.
My name is Mike Thomas. I am past president of the Turners Group, the people that they keep back here in the corner in that little room with no windows. That's us. Anyway, I go both ways. I'm a member of the guild and Turners. But I grabbed a couple pieces as I was leaving to come to the meeting tonight, and just a couple of things. Just to show you some of the creative things that we do. We have a meeting every month, the first Monday of the month, and we have a demonstration, and typically whoever demonstrates gets to indicate what the challenge is for the next month. And a guy came in, and he had a 5-gallon bucket full of these optical glass lens blanks. And the challenge for the next month was to incorporate this into a wood turning. Now, I'm probably the least creative person I know, but our president, Chris Coyne, is an incredibly gifted wood turner and really, really creative. And he said, make it like a lidded box and have that on the top. Well, I did that and tried to follow the shape of the top here. And this was just a piece of sycamore that I pulled out of the backyard. And this did have, where's Terry? this did have a little piece of olive wood that I had carefully epoxied onto the top after I had etched the top of this blank with laser, or not a laser, but an engraver thing to rough it up. And apparently it hasn't got enough tooth, but this came off here a little bit ago. Anyway, what's kind of neat about this is that you put a diamond here and you close it up, makes it look like a silver dollar, so anyway, just something that we do. And this piece I brought because this is, I call it like a half and half bowl. This was just a rough piece of ash that had hunked out with a chainsaw. But I brought it in here, didn't have any bark on it, okay? So I planed it down and jointed it so that it was completely square. And then I took it over to the table saw and cut, I don't know what angle that was in here, but I did that, and I put this real exotic finish on here called Krylon, and I squirted it. It was all black. So I put it on my lathe, and I just started making a bowl. I cut the outside and then hollowed out the inside, and I thought it kind of came out nice, and it was, this is real easy to do. So anyway, I had fun doing it, and I thought I'd share that with you. So, any questions?
Question.
Yes.
Was it intended to look like a flower? Because that's kind of what it looks like to me.
Intended to look like a what?
Flower.
No, I just turned the corners off of it. But thank you. I mean, it is. I was pleased with the way this came out. But like I say, it was really pretty simple to do, and I just started cutting it in a shape to where it would go to the corners. But yeah, we do that kind of stuff over there in that room in the back when they let us out. Yes.
Did you have to calculate the focal length for the magnifying glass?
I didn't, but that was just a pleasant surprise I had after I was done. So, yeah.
You might try silicone rubber glue for your top.
Oh, really?
Because I've glued a wooden handle on a pie pan to make a lid for my cast iron skillet, and it's been there 10 years.
Thank you. I will do that because obviously I need to do something here. But, okay, silicone glue.
Any more questions? More questions?
Yes, sir.
You have any more of those lenses going spare?
We have a 5-gallon bucket full of them. Now, we do. This guy brought in literally a 5-gallon bucket, weighed a ton, but they're back here in our shop somewhere, and we're still trying to, figure out. But they had those.
I have no idea what I do with
tissue
one.
paper.
With one, but I'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, as soon as we get our way clear, come by anytime and we'll give you some. Sure.
Any other questions? Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Pretty much the only interesting thing about this is the door. It's an old post office box door from the 60s, actually marked 1961.
Where'd you get it?
Etsy.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a set of 4 of them for, I think they came out to $45, including shipping. And make a nice, neat little box with a combination.
So these are piggy banks?
Yeah.
And you're not giving out the combination?
Actually, combinations are right on the top.
Oh, okay.
Right on it.
And they're meant for gifts?
Actually, these 4 I was planning on selling
Sell
at
okay.
at the First Fridays.
Okay.
This one, I got a set of 2 of them. These were about $40 for 2 of them, but they're significantly older. That's pretty much it. The only challenge with this was removing the silver spray paint. Somebody had sprayed all over it. I boiled it in water and baking soda, and that.
Okay. And this is a piece of just pine.
Yep, just pine.
And you just mitered the corners, and did you do anything to reinforce the miter?
No, I thought about putting keys on there, but I didn't think it'd be, going,
Okay.
taking a lot of abuse.
So you're planning on making a number of these and selling them?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the 4 I have, and if I can find, any more doors for decent price.
Okay. Any questions about this project? These are kind of neat.
Did you get the doors specifically for this project, or did you get the doors and then decide on this project?
Yes, I got the doors and then figured out what I was going to do with them. They were just too neat to pass up at that price.
You must have really wanted those. Okay.
Yeah, and I had to figure out the combinations, afterwards. They didn't come with combinations.
Oh, so you had to kind of pick a lock to...
Well, if you look closely here and turn it, you can see when you hit the opening.
Okay. So it's just a one nation, one...
No, it's 3-letter. This is actually...
Oh, I see.
It's letters, and it goes on the letter and between letters.
Okay.
The combination of this is E, C, and IJ, so it's in between I and J.
Okay. So, all right. Any other questions about this? Thanks for bringing that in. Nice project. Nice finish.
Thank you.
Good joint. There you go. What's your name?
I'm Chris.
Chris?
Chris.
Good to have you. And what do we have here?
So I've been calling this a tea shelf or tea cabinet. Been working on this for about 6 months. I've got 2 kids under 5, so it probably was really only about 10 hours worth of work, but it took about 6 months. Couple things about it. So I mainly built it because I wanted to try a couple new things. The Kamiko on the front, I actually made those. Those are the first 2 panels I ever made. And I actually made those about 2 years ago, and they were sitting in a box, and I didn't want to take the time to make new Kamiko panels, and they fit perfectly, so I actually just incorporated them on this shelf. But so frames made out of walnut. The Kamiko and the front drawers are made out of basswood, and then the back portion you can see inside is actually laser engraved, and that's made out of ambrosia maple.
Okay.
I don't know if the camera can see inside there, but it's a Japanese temple garden scene that I laser engraved. It took about 40 minutes on the laser.
So, how did you reinforce this butt joint?
So those are all done with dowels.
Okay, you doweled it in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and the back is actually, I guess, floating, the panel on the back.
So what happens to this piece of workmanship?
It gets hung up somewhere in my house.
Okay.
It's going to be a French cleat on the back. I haven't done that yet, but it'll hang somewhere. The front has the shohi paper on it, so the thought is to put like an LED candle in there that kind of shines through and lights up the inside of it. And
Okay.
shines out of it.
And what did you finish this with?
Shellac.
Okay.
Not as easy as I thought it would be. I've used shellac a couple times, and I think the cut, I always underestimate how much alcohol I need to mix and cut in with it, and it went on a little thick, but I kept having to add more.
There's a couple people here that are really experts at shellac, so you might go over and tap their brain.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out how to
bit.
get that ratio mixed right, so I don't
Yeah,
get the
there's
little,
a lot of people
the
here that
little
use
lines.
shellac. Should have used Odo's oil.
I've used Odie's oil on every project before this, but I was like, I'm going to give that a break.
Very good. Any questions about this piece?
Where did you find the Japanese scenery that is on the inside?
I just Googled images. I actually used an AI generator to kind of get an inspiration for what I wanted. And then I just used a Google image search off of that image to find an actual image that looked better. So.
On your Kamiko, where did you learn how to do that?
A YouTube video. I also have a Shohei book that kind of went over the basics for how to do the Kamiko panels. It is.
Yeah. It's fun.
How did you get this taper on the bottom here and the bottom of this piece right here?
Hand plane.
Oh, really?
I did not have, so I did it at my house, and lucky for me, it was half an inch wider than my bandsaw was deep. So I sat there with a hand plane and I planed that.
Very good. Any other questions? That's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Did you have any problems cutting those narrow strips?
I kind of I made a jig on my table saw to cut them, and they actually came out pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah, the first couple were tough, but doing it on the table saw, the one thing you got to make sure is you keep the consistent pressure so that it doesn't eat into the strip of wood, but it was pretty easy doing it on the saw.
Good. Any other questions? Thanks. Nice piece.
Thank you.
Nice design. I really like that. You didn't do it? Here, you got it.
My name is Fred Arnold. I carved this. It's carved out of basswood, painted with acrylic paint.
So this is a Mr. Santa Claus, I take it, because he's got a beard?
Yeah. It's Mr. Santa Claus.
Okay. When did you do this?
Last year.
Okay.
Last year sometime.
And what's the finish on it?
Just acrylic paint.
Okay. And it's a piece of basswood?
Basswood, yeah. You paint like this right here, you paint this here black first or dark gray, then you just lightly come over it with white paint, and that gives you your snow effect.
How did you get the texture in the beard and in this piece across the top and the
This here I did with a V-tool. You V-tool that down.
Jim, you lay it down.
You get this roughed out, and then you V-tool this down like this, and you paint that a dark color first, and then you come over it with white.
Okay.
And then on this right here, this part right here, you don't push a V very hard, you just kind of dig it a little bit. And same on his fur there. Most of your Santa Clauses are not painted red. That's American deal. Most of your European Santa Clauses are painted different colors. And I've got some that I've painted different colors.
what primarily color are they if they're European?
Depends what country they come from.
Okay.
Russians are different, the Swedes are different, the Finns are different.
Yeah, the Swedes really are different.
The Italians are different. They're all different colors. You got a wide variety that you can paint them, whatever suits you.
So what happens to this piece?
It'll sit on the shelf for a while.
Okay.
It's just something I like to do. I don't like to do heavy work anymore.
Any questions about this piece of carving? Yes, sir.
Do you make a clay form first, or
No.
you just start carving?
Well, you can
Question
buy-
was, did he
you
make
can
a
get
plan
rough out.
first?
You can get what they call a rough out. It'll be about this size, and it'll be a little thicker, and then you finally bring it down. But it takes a lot of the wood away. Takes a lot of wood away from it. Or you can carve it right out of a block, if you can see it. That's the main thing about carving, is to see what you're carving. If you can see it in your mind, you can carve it. If you can't see it, you can't carve it.
I could. I've tried carving a couple of times. I end up with toothpicks.
Yeah. Well, you got to learn what your tools will do. The deal about carving is what your different tools, what effects you get from your different tools. And also you got to have them very sharp. If you can't sharpen your tools, you won't carve long, because you give up.
All right. Any other questions?
Question was, how long did it take?
I don't keep track of time. I don't keep track of my time. It takes the fun out of it. If I feel like carving for an hour, I carve for an hour. If I feel like carving down for 3 hours, I carve 3 hours. I don't want a job.
Any other questions? Thanks for bringing that in. Nice piece. As always, I'm always impressed with your stuff.
Wanted to do a little bit curved inlay and play with some stringing, so I made a box. That's about it. Just simple design, just lifts off. Hello? Better? Good. Just a hexagon box. Just did on table saw and shooting boards, and that's about it. So it turned out not too bad. I was kind of happy with it.
So what is the black string around the perimeter?
That's veneer, a 32nd inch string, dyed. See the key?
Oh, okay. Ah.
There you go.
Okay. And this is walnut?
That's walnut, yeah.
And this is a piece of quilted
That's
maple?
quarter sawn sycamore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the sides are just walnut?
Walnut, yep.
Very good. What are you going to do with this?
I'll probably end up giving it away sometime. I don't know. It probably will gather some dust in the shop for a while. So.
Did you finish it with shellac?
Shellac and wax, yes.
You ever try Odie's oil? Just
once.
I get a commission from those guys.
That's why you use some shellac.
Yeah. So, that's about it.
Any questions about this box?
Here. So how do you get the circle?
With the stringing
how-
tool.
how'd you get the circle?
Just like a compass. Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
For your cutouts for your inlays, by hand and router or a laser or CNC?
It's all router and hand.
Hand routered.
Yeah, hand router and then knives. and carving tools where needed and all
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Especially to get the points.
Yeah, if you get a chance over there, come up and see it. These points are really, really intricate. They are, wow, I'm impressed. Even for you, I'm impressed.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Is it meant to look like a sun, or is it just supposed to be like squiggles?
It's just meant to be what it is. There was no, I'd seen this type of design and decided I liked it, and so I did it. That's it.
This is really intricate work. I'm really impressed. Thanks for bringing that in.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. That's it.
Thanks. That it? All right.
All right, I guess we're finished up. Anybody got any questions? You're welcome to hang around for a little bit. We could use some help putting up the chairs. And on that note, everybody have a good evening. Thanks.
A special thank you to our guest today, to the Guild's Leadership Committee, and to all of our sponsors. For more information about the Guild, upcoming classes, and events, please visit our website kcwg.org. You can also find us on social media by searching for Kansas City Woodworkers Guild. And remember to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications.